up, Tim?
That was kind of fun.
It was.
I haven't done a double drumming thing in a long time.
It could be a little awkward, can it?
Yeah.
You're not usually used
Certainly.
to like playing with other drummers. It's can throw you for a loop a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Oh man, how's everyone out in Facebook land doing? Hopefully everything's syncing up properly. My name is Aaron Roy. Most importantly, my special guest this evening is Tim Guilfoyle.
Special's the operative word.
Yes, that
Thanks so
definitely
much
is.
for having me. I
Oh
really
man,
appreciate it. Big fan of this.
well, I've been following you for a long time, and it's a pleasure to finally have you. I know
Thanks.
we've talked about it for quite a bit,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
tonight we're drinking some 50 West brewskis. Cheers.
Cilantro, sir.
So as always, we're gonna be just keeping this casual,
Cool.
drinking some beers. If anybody out there in Facebook land has any questions for us or wants to chime in as we're hanging out and talking, just chime in. You know, we're gonna just keep this light and fun. What's up, Brian Lloyd? How's it going, Don? Thanks for making it. Um, Rob, Mark, I'm seeing a couple other people here. So, Ray, appreciate y'all. So let's just get this rolling.
Cool.
What inspired you to start playing drums?
Um, my dad's a drummer, and I remember, in fact, I think similar story from Adam a couple weeks ago was I came home. I remember this very well. I was living in Southern California and came home from kindergarten. Walking up the driveway, I was like 5 years old, and I could hear this weird sound coming out of the house. And my mom stopped me at like the front door, and we had gone inside, and my dad had like this little Sears and Roebuck
Uh huh.
paper, plastic, blue drum kit. Excuse me. And he was like, "Here, these are drums. These are the sticks." Like, and he didn't even have a kit anymore. He was, but I knew he always was a drummer, like as a kid or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Here's some sticks," and I was like, "Cool." Probably destroyed it within 6 months, if even that long.
I believe it.
And then I didn't have anything till like grade school band of what, like fourth or fifth grade, whenever that starts.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, I was always a drummer. You know,
Yeah.
that's just kindergarten through fourth grade. I'm a drummer, but I didn't even own a pair of sticks or a practice pad. You know.
Sounds like a typical kid.
Yeah, exactly. But then yeah, I got my first real drum kit like that Christmas, and
Wow.
never pushed it on me. He was all like, "Here, if you like it, cool. If not, no big
Mhm.
deal." So
Did your dad play professionally?
nah,
But
nah.
he was a good drummer and
Yeah,
just happened to
yeah.
have the
I
kit.
mean, like he'll to this day he'll be like, "Oh, you know that you're much better than I am." I was like, "No, you're my dad. You're still phenomenal." You
It's
know.
in your blood.
Yeah. So if you're watching, Dad, thanks, love you. But yeah. No, I started just by that, and then haven't stopped really,
That's awesome,
which is
man.
kind of fun.
My dad was a drummer as well, and that's how I got started. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Did you find that playing drums kind of came pretty naturally for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Um, in between that time, I think I got a guitar and didn't work for me. I mean, I just couldn't figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I took piano lessons as a kid. I kind of dug it, but then we moved from California to Arizona, and so those stopped because I was learning on like the neighbor's piano or whatever.
Uh huh.
So I didn't have anything, and so I just stopped lessons. Which the one thing in life I regret is not sticking with piano.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
We wouldn't be here right now.
right, exactly, right. But and then over quarantine, I tried to reteach myself, and didn't work. I mean,
It's like teaching an old dog new tricks, sort of
exactly.
thing.
I mean, all I could ever really play was the intro to Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue. You know,
It checks out.
that's about all I can do. But yeah, no, but just been playing drums.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
So the music out there in California,
hmm
do you think that ever shaped the music that you listen to?
Oh, 1000%.
So what were you listening to when you were growing up?
I'm a child of the '80s, so the whole Sunset Strip thing, you know. But I was talking to someone else the other day, and like that decade,
Hmm.
there's such a huge gamut from what came out in '80, like Pat Benatar stuff and the Knack and this and that, all the way through like the New Age and
Hmm.
the second British invasion and like the Flock of Seagulls and all that, all the way up through the hair stuff. And that's what I took to because that's I was 12 or 13 when that was hitting, so
Yep.
that's I was gravitating towards that.
So like Motley Crue, Poison,
Motley, Poison.
Rat.
I enjoyed Rat. I was never a huge fan. I liked actually Bobby Blatcher. I think he's going to be in town soon, but I put the Bell and the Bear.
Nice.
But my favorite Rat song was ever my favorite Rat song ever was Way Cool Jr. because it was just a bluesy thing that Bobby was just kind of doing this, just a simple little thing, and I
Uh-huh.
was like, you're not hearing that anymore. So
Yeah.
it was cool. But I mean, I still loved all the big turning drums and stick twirls and
Of course.
the
Big Tommy Lee fan.
yeah. Tommy's a huge influence on me. But
Yeah, if you like rock and you grew up in the 80s and you played drums, how could you not be a Tommy Lee fan?
exactly, and it just dawned on me I have a Motley shirt on, so I just happened to like look down earlier. I was like, I'm in a Motley shirt, and I'm talking about Tommy. But no, it's
Keeping it on brand.
yeah, but no, he's a really cool guy. We've had a chance to talk a few times, and very sweet guy.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Did you? I'm pulling from a conversation that we had a while
Hmm.
ago. You ended up building a snare for Tommy Lee, right?
I did. Yeah. Yeah. His Tech and I are really good friends, Steve-O, and I was just talking to Steve one time. I go, man, and this was between the retirement and the stadium tour. I was like, man, I know it won't ever see a stage.
Hmm.
Can I? But I would love to build something for Tommy at some point. I don't care if it just sits in a case in cartage for the next 50 years, whatever.
Uh huh.
And he's like, yeah, let's talk, whatever. And a day or two later, he called me up. He was like, let's do it. So we did one up, and yeah, it was brought out there. So
Please tell me the specs if you remember.
I do. It was Steve and I were talking actually, and I was like, because I was building. It's all oak. It's a solid oak snare.
What is the difference between oak and maple? And for those of you,
Flippin' loud.
okay,
No, it's very dry,
okay,
but very loud. I had heard the first time I ever heard oak was like a Yamaha oak custom or whatever that line was, and I was at like the Madison Live Theater,
oh wow,
and someone was playing them. I was like, Jesus, it's loud, man,
hmm
And I knew the drummer. I knew he wasn't a hard hitter, so it was just the instrument, and they were just projecting big
yeah,
time, and I could see what mics they were, and they weren't phenomenal mics. So I was like, that's just the actual instrument. Um, and then I was building a kit for someone who wanted oak. I think mainly for just the aesthetic of like the wood grain.
hmm
But and then I was talking to Steve and I was like, man, what are we gonna do? He's like, what do you have? I was like, man, I got some oak coming in. He's like, he doesn't have anything in oak. I was like, perfect. And so I had enough offcut because all the shells are made in house.
hmm
I was like, man, I've got up to X amount. I think it was like 9 or 10 inches of a 14-inch shell. And I think we decided on 7 3/4
all right,
because just
because you can.
because we can. It was for T-Bone, and we could just do it.
Uh huh.
And I was like, we're never gonna find a case for this thing. But in fact, the case I shipped it out with was like a 6.5-inch Humenberg case. I had to like extend out the straps
Uh huh.
to fit it in. But yeah, no, it was I think 7 3/4 by 14.
Man, that's a beast.
Yeah, of God, I think it was like if you're into like the ply count thing, I think it
Hmm.
was like an 8 ply, but it was almost a 1/4 inch thick
Wow.
because of just how thick the oak veneer was.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it was amazing. Like I actually might remake one for myself just to have one
Uh huh.
because I was surprised on how fun it was.
It's like there's only two of these in the world.
Right.
Tommy Lee has the other one.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, and it was painted to match his kit that was supposed to be on the original stadium tour.
Mm-hmm.
And and then after COVID and the cancellations or postponements, he changed up his kit a little bit so
Mm.
it didn't quite fully match, but it also matched his Ferrari. So it
Oh,
was cool. Like I put like some red accents in there to match that.
that's really awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
also a good problem for him to have, I would say.
yeah. But no, it was fun.
Hey, so speaking of COVID
Hmm.
and the pandemic,
Yeah.
for those of you that don't know, Tim is the founder of Queen City Drums. So he makes custom drums, and so beyond just being a freelance drummer,
Hmm.
you have this badass custom drum company. And so I kind of feel like you got the double whammy for the pandemic
Yeah.
because it's like your fallback, if you want to call it that. Both of them are affected.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me a little bit about some of the struggles and
It
if you're still dealing with some of those?
yeah, it destroyed me. Not gonna lie.
Hmm.
It was we had an opportunity to buy shell molds. Um, January of 20, December 19, January of 20, and I got them in, and
Perfect timing.
perfect timing, and I was trying to figure out this whole thing, and the world closed, and I was like, I just spent all this money, took out loans to make my business move forward,
Yeah.
and literally dead in the water, you know. And I'm just sitting, staring at all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was great because it helped me. It gave me time to learn the equipment
Hmm.
with a lot of mess ups. Still doing them,
Hmm.
because it's what
Part of the process.
exactly. Um, but there was I was ordering some veneer from my supplier, and it was literally the last UPS truck to go out of that state before the state closed.
Wow.
So I had some to play with. Um, and then you had like the supply chain issues, which I still have some parts that are sitting on a boat in Los Angeles Harbor 2.5 years later.
That's insane.
You know, um, yeah, it's not fun. Had to give back a lot of money
Hmm.
and their product. That wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Here I basically just did this for free, and at the time, with all that, I mean, I'm a dad,
Hmm.
so I was also a teacher for kindergarten, second grade, and sixth grade.
On top of all of
On
that,
top of all the other stuff. Yeah, so that was fun.
man, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Well, I knew you were a father, but
yeah,
I didn't even think about the fact that you would also basically be their teacher
yeah. I
through
mean,
through
their
that.
their school is phenomenal, and they sent home everything, and they had to. But we all thought it was gonna be like 2 weeks,
Hmm.
you know. And this was like a couple weeks before spring break. Like, all right, they're just gonna like extend out the spring break, and then we're all gonna go back. Well, no. So and so in my son who has his own special needs and whatnot, and he was not dealing with virtual learning.
Hmm.
He was just like, nope, not doing this.
Yep.
Bye, Felicia. Let me go watch Aquanauts or whatever. That's my jam right now.
Uh huh.
And my daughter was just like, I remember her because like they had to like sign in every day, to do like the morning meeting, and it was at 9 o'clock, and I would get her out of bed at 5 till, and she'd walk downstairs, and her hair is all disheveled, and she's sitting with like a bowl of cereal, just I'm
Yep.
here, man,
Yep.
and her teacher's like, just as long as she signs in, I don't care,
Yep.
just show that they're signed in. And so the teachers were great. She happened to get the same teacher next year, so
Nice.
whatever she fell behind in, they were going up through.
That's great.
Yeah, but no, it was rough. I'm still dealing with a lot of it, but
Are
not.
there still some like supply chain issues?
It's getting a lot better. Um, Now I'm just dealing with the price increases.
Mm-hmm.
To where someone was like, I just got a text the other day. Hey, I'd like to move forward on that kit we talked about, or a Facebook message, whatever it was. Um, blah 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 blah, and like I scrolled back, and I was like, the last time I heard from you was from 2019. Let me see how accurate these prices are,
Yeah.
because wood's gone up 20 or 30%.
Mm-hmm.
Metal parts have gone up 20, 30+%. Like there were things that I would order retail just to fulfill a build.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was like, that's out of pocket because I can't wait on this anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got shell packs without lugs that have been sitting on a shelf for 2 years, just waiting on the parts. And the clients are phenomenally awesome. Like, dude, I get it. When they get here, they get here.
Yeah.
I have 10 other kits. Cool. Thank you so much. But then you have those other people like every day, like, here's your money back.
Yep.
I'll give you the product when I get the parts. Like, I know certain drumhead companies that were affected because they couldn't get the aluminum for the hoops,
Mm-hmm.
or they couldn't get the coating that they sprayed on the coated heads. It's little things that you just don't think about,
Yeah.
that I didn't think about until I'm trying to order some product. Like, oh, yeah, we can't do that because we can't get the aluminum to make the heads. Drumstick companies couldn't get wood to make drumsticks, you know?
Certainly a problem.
I'm like, there's a million trees out there. But
Well, I'm glad we're further on the other side of it.
yeah,
But it is a bummer to hear that you're still dealing with some of
It-
the supply chain issues.
it's getting better. I mean, it just sucks to just walk in and just see things that have just been sitting there, like
staring at you.
staring at me, taunting me,
Yes.
keeping me up at night.
Let me backtrack a little
Yeah.
bit. So, Queen City Drums.
Yeah.
When did you start it, and what was the inspiration?
I started it as a hobby back in fact, it was funny. I just found like the original artwork logo idea
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks ago, and it was dated of 2010. Um, and it was just one of the things where I was gonna build a drum for myself just to see if I could do it. And
Were you starting with a snare?
yeah, I was gonna build a snare for myself. I was in food service at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just home and sitting around, and I was like, for whatever reason, I just decided to Google the term raw drum shell. It's like, oh, I can buy an already made drum shell. Excuse me. And I was like, I didn't know that was a thing. And I was like, I want to try to buy lugs. I want to try to buy. So I think like I priced out to build what I knew like the DW, whatever was costing.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, all right, it cost me X amount to build that. They're charging that amount. With the food service math I have, you charge X amount, that math adds up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I built a drum for myself. There's some mistakes on it, of course. Didn't realize how accurate you had to be on drilling.
I bet.
Pretty flippin' accurate. But yeah, then this band I was in at the time, they had already recorded an album when I was brought in. And they're like, hey, you're going to be promoting it. Let's put another song on the album so you can be on it. It's like, oh, all right, cool. And so we recorded down at Ultra Suede down in Camp Washington, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And John Curley was the engineer, bassist for the Afghan Wigs.
Nice.
And so I ended up tracking maybe 2 or 3 songs. And he's come to the end, he's like, man, I love that snare. Whose is it? And I was like, oh, it's mine. He's like, well, I know it's yours, but whose is it? I was like, it's mine. He's like, Tim, I know it's yours. I saw you brought it in. What brand is it? I go, oh, I built this. He's like, really? I was like, yeah. He's like, can you build one for the studio, but to these specs? I was like, yeah, sure. Okay, whatever. Um, and so I did, and he's like, well, how much is it going to cost? I was like, and this one cost me X amount. I'll just charge you the parts. I don't know what the labor is, so I'll eat the labor. You know, I didn't know what to charge for labor because I didn't anticipate any of that.
Yeah.
And he paid me almost triple the cost. And I was like, no, I said it was going to be X amount. I was like, no, I would have paid that in the store. So here you go.
That's awesome.
I was like, all right, there might be something here.
Yeah.
you know?
All of a
And
sudden, a light bulb just went
yeah,
off.
I was like, I was never really good at math, but this is adding up pretty
Yeah.
good. At the time, I had my daughter on the way. Like, I just found out my wife was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I could use that extra money right now. And it just slowly kind of, I never really paid for advertising. It just was word of mouth. And then I think I did like a Facebook ad for like $20 once just to see what it would do.
Uh-huh.
But I never advertised. Like, I never had like promotional campaigns.
That's great.
They came to me, which is fantastic. I mean, it's not lost on me how blessed I was with that.
And you went to NAM a couple times, right?
Yeah, it was went to NAM one year, and well, I've been a few times, but the first year it was
That's a National Association of Music
Merchants. Yeah,
Merchants.
if you don't know what NAM is, it's where like Guitar Center, Sweetwater, whoever you buy your instruments from, they send their buyers there to. Is that the camera I'm looking at? Okay. Or
Either
wherever.
that one
Okay,
or
yeah.
that one.
Yeah, but
Right now, I think we have.
okay. How about this one right here, so I can look like I'm talking to Aaron? But
There we go. It's on.
it was that's where they send their buyers to buy. Oh, hey, we need you to bring in a new line of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's insanity. It's like the Super Bowl and the World Series and the Olympics all rolled into one.
Man,
It's 5 days of just insanity.
headaches.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have any plans of ever going back?
Um, yes and no. It's changed a lot since
Mhm.
COVID. Um, they the industry spoke up because NAMM wanted to keep pushing through
Mm-hmm.
and do it, and the industry was like, "I'm not gonna have a booth there because I don't want to get sick again,
Yep.
or whatever." So they scaled it back down, and in fact, it's actually happening this week, right now in Anaheim. It's supposed to
Really?
be in January,
Yeah.
but um, they pushed it back due to California COVID laws or whatever. And I was supposed to be there actually, but I looked at like the map to see who was there, and no one's showing.
You decided to be at Beats and Brews instead?
I said, you know what? I was like, I can't miss Aaron, man.
Yeah.
My flight leaves in an hour actually, so I got to hurry this up.
Yeah, we'll
But-
wrap it up. Get
but-
your questions in now,
Yeah,
people.
no, but yeah, it was just. I'm gonna probably go in January, because that's when it should be open again, and everything's gonna be cool. And it's not cheap, man. I mean,
I bet.
it's just the smallest booth is almost $4,000, and that's just a squared off piece of concrete floor.
That's
you know,
crazy.
You get a table and a chair in your booth, and that's it. Everything else you bring in.
Not even a hotel or anything?
No, that's to have me show at NAMM. Excuse me.
It's the beer.
It
It's okay.
is, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. Which I actually ate at 50 West earlier today too, so their burgers are coming back up.
Coming right back up.
But no, to have me do NAMM conservatively is $8,000 to $10,000, and that's building out product, shipping it out there, lodging, food for 5 days, transportation to and from the airport. If I want to get out of like the NAMM bubble of the hotel complex and the convention center, I got to Uber somewhere. you know, it just adds up.
Adds up for sure.
And yeah, and like in hotels, there are, I mean, it's convention prices, so
Hmm.
they triple. Even if you have hotel points, it's still, some of them black them out, you know, because it's not cheap.
Yeah. That
It's fun.
way more money than I thought it would be
Excuse me.
just to be there.
Yeah, it's yeah, and then they kind of stick you for, oh, oh, you want electricity in your booth? Well, that's an extra X amount a day.
They
Uh,
nickel and dime you like
oh
that?
my God, yeah, it's um, what was, oh, and this would always got us, like we always had a joke about this, but they jam the free Wi-Fi in the convention center. So if you want internet, you have to pay for,
What?
yeah, to where I yeah, I called back home, was like, "Hey, our data plan might go nuts this month because I'm gonna turn my phone into a hotspot just so I can do business, you
Survive.
know." And all right, cool, but it was like, yeah, it's,
That's not cool.
they nickel and dime you, and I've since learned they're a nonprofit, so I don't know where all the profits going,
Yeah.
but
Interesting.
yeah, but they like to ask for your money real quick.
Mm-hmm. So have you done anything like PASIC or like the
I've done the
Music City
I've
drum show?
I did the first Music City drum show,
Okay,
and
cool.
then last year I was playing, so I we were lucky enough to get booked months out, so
Hmm.
I knew that date was booked before I could even black it out of our calendar. Same with this year, actually. We booked with my band New Year's Eve of 22 going into 23, where we were already booked into May or June. So it was a good problem to have.
For sure.
And then by mid January, we were booked another X amount to where we actually, as of today, I think we have like 4 available dates for the rest of the year,
That's
which is a
amazing.
bad, it's a good problem to have. Excuse me. But yeah, so it was like, oh, I need a sub for that one because that's my daughter's birthday.
Uh-huh.
And I booked before I could black it out, you know. But so,
Scheduling is always the most complicated
yeah.
part of being a freelancer, in my experience as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a couple people that you're playing with. Um, and I wish I had, the best answer on how to go about it.
Yeah.
Um, so when you're taking orders for Queen City Drums
Hmm.
and you're also a gigging musician,
Hmm.
is there ever a time where you have to really prioritize your time and figure out maybe I shouldn't take this gig, or because you have to spend more time in you know building these drums, or
Yeah.
going to your conventions and you have to black out your calendar with your band?
Yeah.
Is it ever a conflict for you?
It can be simply because I have really bad ADHD. So I squirrel out all the time, you
Hmm.
know, to where, but no, in fact, my kids were on spring break this last week and they were out of town. So it was great because I could go and just focus on catching up on drum repairs.
Hmm.
And I mean, I can't build anything up until I get parts, but I could do this and that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so it was just catching up on things that have just been like staring at me for longer than I would like to admit, you know.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so
And so it's that one party band
mhm,
is who you're playing with
yeah,
primarily right now.
yeah.
Um, do you sub for anyone or any other bands, or are you only playing with that band this year?
Right now, that's all I've been doing.
Awesome.
It's I haven't picked up any sub work.
I guess if you guys are so booked, you don't really need to. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've turned it down, you
Hmm.
know, which I hate doing it, but it's kind of a good feeling, you
Hmm.
know. I've been recommended for quite a few things, which thank you whoever does that. But
I've thrown your name in the hat a
yeah,
couple
yeah,
times
yeah, yeah, yeah,
recently.
yeah. Thank you, and I think I have on you as well. But it's
Yeah,
like,
thank you.
but it's a good problem where like, oh, we're booked, you know. But I'd love to do it just to because it's always fun playing with people that you haven't played with before,
Yeah,
you know. So
I and I learn something new every time I play with a new group of people,
Yeah.
even if it's not maybe something drum wise, but maybe personality wise, or how to work with certain personality types, or how they operate as a band. And there's just always something new to learn,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It's like,
that's the beauty of it.
and it's fun because our sound guy is also a drummer. So I have a great drum mix every night.
That's awesome.
But I've learned that production side of things from him to where like he'll just bring in all of his drum mics because over COVID, I sold a lot of gear just to have some money because you
Yeah.
don't know when you're gonna come in. And then I was gigging a lot more frequently post COVID than I anticipated. Again, great problem to have,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, oh, I don't have drum mics anymore, you know? So, and he's like, oh, I've got blah, 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 blah. So I'm using his, and I just haven't bought my own yet, you know, which saves me a grand. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's always good to have your own gear on some things, though, too. You know?
Your sound guy,
Hmm.
does he come to every gig, or just the gigs that you guys can
Every show.
justify it?
Every show. No, he could sneak will pay of all of us. Like, he's the fifth member of the band.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and we get him on a very discounted rate, and we know that.
Mm-hmm.
But because he's dating the singer, so you know, thanks, Ray.
Yeah.
No, so we get him at a discounted rate. Um,
Pays off.
I'm sure there's some other perks he gets for that, but
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome.
but no, he's phenomenal. Matt Anderson,
Okay.
great guy. Yeah, and he's actually coming into her now to like if I can't do a gig, like if because I try not to get booked on the weekends. I have my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those dates are becoming in more and more now, so we're turning them down, and I don't want the other people to lose out on some income.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey, get us up. I'm I'm not that ego driven, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Matt and a couple other people we know are going to start to like slowly just kind of work it in just in case,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which I'm totally fine with. I mean, I get it. I don't want to take food out of anyone else's mouth. So
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, and
yeah,
it's also cool that you work with people that understand that you have other priorities,
yeah,
and everyone needs to sub some stuff out sometimes,
yeah,
or um, go on vacation.
yeah,
It's this you can't get stuck into the rut pretty quickly of just knowing that you're going to be working every single weekend, which
mm-hmm,
is totally a great problem to have.
mm-hmm,
Um, but then you look back and go, oh, I haven't been to any friend's wedding in 2 years. Um,
yeah,
and you quickly realize that your social life diminishes,
yeah,
and you haven't been on a proper vacation because you have to be home by Friday. And
yeah.
yeah, so it adds up.
Perfect example on that is one of my best friends in the world. His oldest is getting married, and he's like, "This is the date." We're frozen.
Oh, did it come back yet? 1 second. All right, I think we fixed whatever glitch was happening. So once again, if you guys have any questions, send them our way. Hopefully, we just fixed whatever was going on. Do you remember where we are at in conversation? We good? Okay, sweet.
Actually, yeah, I do, which is surprising because I'm generally
Because you're ADHD, right?
exactly yeah
Keeping this on track.
yeah. um, my one of my best friends in the world, his daughter, I'm his oldest, is getting married, and it's like, hey, it's on such and such date. It's like, sweet, I'm not booked. Tell you what, block the date. We'll play it, and we'll do it for our show rate as a gift, but I won't take any of the pay. I'll just disperse it to the other folks,
Man, that's super kind of you.
And this guy's like my brother,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, he practically is my brother. And so I called up his wife, the bride's mom. I was like, hey, did you guys think any more about that? Whatever. And because like the bride was like, I want Uncle Timmy to be there and have fun and
Yeah.
not have to work. And I was like, this isn't work for me. This is what I enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
The work part is hauling in the gear. You don't pay me to play.
That's for sure.
You know, I do that for free. But and then like, oh, we changed the date to whatever. And I was like, oh, I'm playing out of town that weekend. Sorry, so I can't even be there now.
Yeah, man, that's a
Which,
bummer.
yeah, it totally stinks. I mean, but it's one of those things where it's part of the gig. You signed up for it
Yep.
in a way. So
Yep. I can't tell you how many weddings and birthdays and holidays I've missed.
yeah,
And yeah, it just comes with the territory. And the important thing is that your friends and family, they just know that
yeah,
it's nothing personal.
right,
So,
yeah. It's like I've got a friend of mine who's wanting to move in a couple weeks. He's like, hey, I need your help. I'm like, dude, I'd be there in a heartbeat, but I'm playing. So I and I can't get a sub that quick. Or like his brother's getting married in like the rehearsal dinner or engagement, whatever it is. you know, some function that I was invited to that I can't be there
yeah.
because I'm playing, and then I'm playing like the following night out of town as well. And
Dang.
it's a good problem to have, but it's
What can you do?
exactly
Yep.
chose this life.
Exactly. Um, so, do you have any advice for drummers out there that are maybe struggling to find a gig or just trying to get started to be in their first band?
If you're trying to find a gig, go to as many open jams as you can. Just network. And I'm terrible at networking because I'm innately very shy.
Uh huh.
Until you give me that. But I'm like the most introverted extrovert. Go to like open jams, meet people, play with people, and then if they like, someone's going to like you, need you, want you, whatever you want to say it, and they will reach out.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just starting your first band, make sure you guys are all on the same page from Jump Street as far as the
Easier
styling.
said than done.
Exactly. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do this. Let's do this. And then it sounds great for the first week or two, and then well, let's do this, or this didn't work that way, and let's
Mm-hmm.
try this.
Or you want to tour and nobody else wants to leave town, or
Yeah,
basic things.
exactly. Or I've been in projects where we were offered phenomenal out of town shows,
Mm-hmm.
and someone in the band couldn't leave due to the day job or to family life or whatever, and we've all been there in some aspect, but
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, that's another thing is like-minded. What's the word I'm looking for? Goals,
Yeah.
So
And like I said before, it's easier said than done.
yeah,
And knowing firsthand, all the personalities and the egos involved, especially when you're in a band and it's the same people all the time. I feel like it's a different environment when you're working mostly with like hired guns.
Hmm.
People just want to show up, be professional, and get paid.
Yeah.
But being in a band is it's just different.
It's a family.
Yeah,
It's very much a family,
and
and everything that goes along with that,
for better or for worse.
for better, for worse. And yeah, this last year for me has been trying with a lot of family stuff, and my band has been some of the most supportive people
That's amazing.
ever, I mean, yeah, so
Well, I'm glad to hear that,
yeah,
man.
thanks. It's like they're like, hey, you need to take some time and do whatever you gotta do. I was like, yep, like okay, cool, thanks. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so we're all here for each other.
That's important.
Yeah, absolutely. As to where if you're just walking into a hired gun situation down at Tin Roof or something,
Yep.
you're like, just give me my check.
Exactly.
Who do I talk to get paid? But yeah,
Hmm. Did you have you been on the road?
I was in an original band. Well, my son's 8, so um, maybe first 3 years of his life, we were pretty much weekend warriors. We'd go out for Friday, Saturday,
Hmm.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, out of town. Couldn't get booked in our hometown to save our lives, but we had a great following in like the region, like Indiana, Kentucky, like Louisville area,
Hmm.
Nashville, like just the region,
Yeah,
But had a hard time getting booked here in town.
that's weird.
Yeah, I mean we did, of course, but those were like the off shows.
Hmm.
But no, it was we had a show in Nashville once, and my wife at the time, she worked in retail, and we had to play in Nashville on a Sunday. We played Friday, Saturday here in town, and then I left for the gig in Nashville Sunday afternoon, played, turned right back around and drove home, laid down in bed at 5:30 in the morning with the time change.
Yeah.
And her alarm went off at 5:45 or 6, and my daughter was, I think, 2 or 3, and she comes walking in at 6:15. Hey, Dad. I'm like, I'm up. Let's go. And she didn't know what Daddy was doing.
Uh huh.
She doesn't. It
Doesn't get
shouldn't.
it.
She got it. Like she knew I was out playing, but
Hmm.
she didn't know I was. I had just got home.
Gotcha.
And she shouldn't care. I mean, she's 2. I'm her dad. Let's play.
Hmm.
That's all she cared about. A lot of coffee was consumed that morning.
It sounds like it,
A lot of coffee.
man.
But that one was fun though. But
And
again, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
hmm,
So
that's great.
yeah,
And I also it's the life experiences that also come with traveling,
yeah,
and plus you get paid to do it, so
yeah,
it's great.
yeah.
Um,
You get paid to go to places you never would have gone to.
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's fun.
Um, you've told me in the past that have you been a drum tech before, or have you teched in some capacity?
A little bit, yeah. Just for some friends of mine.
Hmm.
David Parks. Do you know him at all? I'm sure you guys have met. You've
Uh,
had to have met.
I don't know David personally,
Right.
but I have enough friends
Yeah.
that are
No.
friends with him, so I feel like we're homies.
You need him on the show. Not gonna lie.
100%.
Yeah,
He's a perfect candidate.
he is. Love the dude. He's my brother. And if you're watching, there's so many inside jokes I could say right now, but it won't happen. Which they might even come up on the screen that he would say something. But no, he was in a band with Tommy Skio from Tesla
Oh, cool.
called Resist and Bite. And
Oh yeah, and Brian Powell
yeah,
plays
yeah, yeah,
bass.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Steve Stokes is on the other guitar. And they had like a little short run. He's like, "Hey, do you want to come out with me?" I was like, "Absolutely." So did that, and then local stuff. I was offered some other stuff, but I was going through some family stuff at the time, and I just couldn't leave town.
Hmm.
Didn't want to leave town.
Yeah, fair enough.
So my daughter was like, if I'm only going to see you for 1 or 2 days a week, then I was like, then I won't do it, you know.
Yep. Priorities.
Exactly. But yeah, no. I mean, I'm at a point now where probably wouldn't turn it down again, you
Hmm.
know. I don't think I burned any bridges, you know,
Yeah.
from having it turned down. So, yeah,
Well, it's better to turn something down than to say yes to everything and then stretch yourself too thin
exactly.
and not be present and not do the job that you need to.
Right. Yeah.
So it's good that you realize that and
Yeah.
you didn't push the boundaries.
Yeah. I mean, there's times when I push them and I'm like, I'm starting to get a little over my head. So
Hmm.
you roll it back. But
Um, Drew McKenzie said he was fortunate enough to have you make a snare for a good friend of his.
oh yeah,
I said it sounds incredible.
yeah. Darren Dodd, who's out with, I don't know if he's still with Anderson East, but yeah, it's I built a snare for Darren. Cool guy. Um, yeah, cool guy.
That's
And
awesome. Do you find yourself doing more snare builds than full drum kits?
yeah, to the point where I'm actually considering solely concentrating on snares.
Hmm.
Um, it's I don't want to say it's less time consuming, but it's much easier to just be efficient at it,
Hmm.
you know, instead of having. I mean, as I said, we make all of our own shells in house, so
That's a
it's
special thing.
yeah, it's I mean, so I'm and I've got pretty much every size you can think of, plus some molds to make wooden hoops for them. You know, I mean,
Wow.
it's a lot of real estate
Hmm.
and a lot of wood and a lot of everything. And if I can have one or two molds and just concentrate on that
Hmm.
and not have various sizes of hoops everywhere and drum heads and stuff takes up a lot of it takes a lot more room than you realize.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, I don't have a 10,000 square foot shop.
Yep.
I'm in
Do,
a
do
two
you
car garage, so
do you have any aspirations to want to get to that point, or do you kind of like the the size operation you have right now?
you always want to go bigger, but I don't want to become like the next DW,
Hmm.
the next Craviotto, size wise. You know,
Yeah.
quality wise, of course, I'm striving for that. You
Hmm.
know, and and you hit your bumps. You know, and you take your lumps, whatever.
Yep.
But um, yeah, and it's yeah. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. I don't want to be just another cog, which is what I kind of am. I mean, I've always said you're not reinventing the wheel with the drum, but I don't need a 40 million square foot manufacturing facility. You
Yep.
know, I don't want to be that. If I ever have anyone working for me or with me, I should say,
Hmm.
I want to know them.
Yeah.
Know their family, whatever, not just be employee number XYZ. You know,
I can respect that.
so yeah, it's I mean get three or four people in there who were all good at one thing,
Hmm.
you know. But with me, I like to touch every single, like, I'm the only one doing it, so I touch every single aspect of it. I rarely outsource work, you know.
I bet it would be difficult if you're building everything from
Excuse me.
the ground up and you're touching everything. I could only imagine that when and if you hire somebody
I
under
feel
you,
for those
like
people
to like
already.
let that go a little bit,
Yeah,
that would be difficult.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's because I was a chef for 25 years, so,
Hmm.
and I touched every plate that went out, and some of my cooks hated me for it, you know.
Hmm.
I was like, dude, I paid you to do a job and you're not doing it, you know.
Yeah.
My name's on that plate. So,
Well, it's clear that you have a passion, and quality is what you're striving for,
yeah,
and I really respect that, and I
thanks.
think that's awesome.
Thanks.
Um, and so even though I don't have a Queen City drum
Yet.
yet,
But we
you had
talked years ago. We talked at Bunbury years ago.
yeah, I
Yeah.
remember talking to you.
Yeah.
I think Steven, my guitar player was also talking to you, maybe through email or
Okay.
some capacity. I don't know. Always trying to get endorsements.
Right.
There's always somebody in the band
There's
that's
always
just
that. Yeah.
reaching out,
Yeah.
seeing what sticks.
We need some sponsorships. We need this. I'm like, do you know what you're really asking for?
Exactly. But you have done some cool work for me that I really appreciate.
Oh, thank you.
Tim just cut down a couple of my bass drums. Um, I had a 20 by 18 and a 22 by 18, and he cut them down to as close to 14 depth wise as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. The the punch, the feel. You just brought some new life back into those
Oh, thank
kicks.
you. Yeah, I've fallen back in love with shallow bass drums again. You
Good.
know,
I think that trend is
I I,
on the upswing.
I think it's coming back. Yeah, it's I remember I built a 24 by 24 with extended front hoops
Man,
for an artist locally, and I was like, you're never gonna find a case for it. First off, and B, knowing the sizes of the stages in Cincinnati, this kick drum is going to be up your singer's butt, literally.
yep.
And he's like, so I was like, all right, checks all cash the same. That's fine. That's your problem at
Yep.
that point.
You tried.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm just trying to be nice, but
And with one of the cutoffs,
yeah,
you made this gong drum for me.
yeah. These are fun, man.
Doesn't that sound really awesome? It's like an acoustic 808.
Exactly. It's I was actually it was Music City Drum Show the first year.
Mhm.
I had a few of them there, and this drummer Angela Lisi comes up, and she tried it, and she's like, "That's like a real life 808." And I was like, "Exactly." And she's like, "I want it. Here's my card."
Give me it.
Exactly.
Uh, how can people reach you if they want to get some custom drums from you?
Right now, find me on Facebook, Instagram. Um, yeah, it's the website's going under a redesign,
Mm-hmm.
and so I unfortunately found out that shut my email server down. So we're trying to get that back up and going. But if you have to email me, my personal email is T and then my last name, which is on all your promo at Gmail. So it's tguilfoyle at Gmail. But
You know how many times I had to like triple check that I was spelling your last name right?
you know what? I
Wait,
get it, man.
yeah.
I get it. No, it's to where now like my keyboard will like autocorrect it. Now like if I fumble it, it'll autocorrect it.
That's
It's
great.
crazy.
I think mine's
Working on it. It's
yeah,
almost there.
working on it. Yeah.
You're about 4 more keystrokes away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, yeah, the Instagram is at Queen City Drums. We're on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Um, everything else is just like my personal drum stuff. Timmy
Okay.
G, whatever, the platform may be.
Timmy G official _
Yeah, I don't even know why I did that one. I think I was trying to like work on a brand at one point.
Uh-huh.
Failed miserably because everyone was trying to like find their own brand at the time, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey.
my brand went belly up.
Um. So you're very very approachable, very reachable. So for you drummers out there, hit up Tim. He'll make you a quality drum.
Oh, thank you.
Speaking of which, David Parks is asking, what's your favorite drum build?
My favorite drum build. Um, the one for Tommy was fun because that's just, I mean, yeah,
It's Tommy.
It's Tommy. But my absolute favorite one is, I. It was one of the first drums I ever built, and my daughter's newborn pictures were taken on it. Like I still have that drum. So
Nice.
that was my favorite one. She actually calls it her drum. So it's retired from shows and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But so she'll probably get it at some point.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's my favorite build. It's kind of cheesy, but
Yeah.
I'm a softie.
Let me see here if there's any other questions I'm missing. Thanks for that, David. And yeah, we'll have to
Thanks, Dave.
get you on Beats and Brews at some point.
Yeah, there's a lot of quality people here in town.
There is,
Like
man.
people that you wouldn't even know are great drummers in their own right.
Hmm.
Jamie Combs, do you know him? He's a guitarist.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a phenomenal drummer, but he's mainly known for his guitar work.
really.
Mm, mm, Billy Carey, he's a great drummer. You know, people that you just don't know
Hmm.
or that you don't associate
Yeah.
with the instrument. Danny Liverty,
Okay.
he's out with Jeff Tate from Queensryche right now.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
And
Wally Reyes of Chicago, like him, he lives here in town. You know, he'd be fun to hang with.
yeah, I we've went and seen him a couple times at the pub in Rookwood.
Yeah,
Just on like a random Tuesday or Wednesday
yeah,
night,
yeah,
free show, and
yeah,
here's the drummer of Chicago
yeah,
and his amazing trio.
yeah,
I think Matt Wiles is on bass, and a dude named Ben plays piano, and
yeah,
just it's an awesome trio.
yeah. He called me up one time, and I've been very fortunate to become friends with him. And he called me. I was like, "Hey, I've got my childhood drum set that I just got from my dad. You know, I want you to go over it and this and that."
Hmm.
And it turns out the it was a Blue Sparkle Rogers kit that Rogers made for his father,
Wow.
and it was like the first. And if Wally, if you ever see this, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like the first Rogers drum kit they ever sent to Puerto Rico, you know,
That's amazing.
for him. And then yeah, like I got it and it was in pristine condition already, you know, like the wrap was still tight and everything. Like I did very, very, very little to it. Excuse me. But so that was kind of weird to handle, you know,
Hmm.
history like that, you know. But
Yeah, I mean, because people are like trusting you with their babies.
yeah, yeah, and things you can't replace if something goes wrong,
Hmm. No
you know.
pressure.
No pressure at all.
Speaking of that, so some of these comments are just now rolling in for me.
Okay.
Um, David also asks, what was the most challenging drum build?
I'm surprised he's being so serious with his questions. Um,
It's on his best
I
behavior.
know, man. I'm kind of disappointed in you, Parksy. Uh, Challenging. I'm a perfectionist, so they all have their own challenges.
Hmm.
You know, I'm sure I can think of something at 2 a.m. that I can't think of now.
Yeah, it'll
But
dawn on you.
yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, that one sucked. But but nothing that stand. I mean, there's always those ones that you think is just gonna be like a straightforward build, and every step of the way there's something small and stupid that'll
Hmm.
just be like, ah, damn it. You know, this should have been done in an hour and it's taken me 20. You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, if anybody else has any questions, feel free to send them over. Um, so since Dave is being so PG, um, what's the craziest thing you've seen on the road or that has happened being?
um, the statute of limitations have not expired on that. No. This isn't all that bad, but it was actually David and I were out, and we were at the hotel bar, and he was speaking to someone on his left, and he had a water bottle with him,
Hmm.
and I had a very dry throat, so like this like annoying dry cough of just like allergies, kind of like I have now, and I ordered a drink, but it wasn't coming fast enough, so I just took his water bottle and just took a sip of it.
Uh huh. Uh oh.
Well, I took a sip, and it was like a spit take, and it was just straight Tito's.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm like, you know, I do this spit take mid sentence, as I said, like he's kind of looking over here, and I'll try to do it in the mic, but he was like, "That's not water." Anyway, blah 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 blah, and I was like, "Yeah, now you tell me, man." But yeah, so that was kind of funny, but that's not terrible. It's just
I was expecting something else. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, it was no.
sometimes on those long drives,
Yeah, yeah.
you got to figure something out.
Got to figure something out. And you're like, this is gonna work somehow.
Yep, can't stop.
Give me the Gatorade well.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
But no, that was just no, that was funny. But no, everything else is pretty
Yep,
PG.
that's how you keep on getting the calls for more gigs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
Um, is what are you looking forward to most this year? Anything that like you want to promote specifically or talk
Um,
about?
come out and see that one party band. We're fun. We play everything from the '60s up through now.
Awesome.
On the drum front, I was going through a divorce this past year, so I basically, essentially, partially something.
Yeah, he said he slept in your closet in a
Oh God,
hotel one
yeah,
night.
that's gonna be a good one. But great, Parks. I'm trying to be serious for a second. Then you go and no, it was
It's a good friend.
yeah, no, it was I basically while I was going through my divorce, I basically like closed down Queen City to just concentrate on that. So I'm slowly launching that open again.
Hmm.
Getting it back up to where it once was and where it should be. I mean, I dropped the ball on some things. And so I'm just getting that with just life things. So
Yeah.
now it's just getting it back up to where it was and
Hmm.
should be and will be. But as far as parks, we were in Nashville, and he's like, "Hey, can I stay in your room?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll leave a key at the front desk for you." And I had to leave at like 5 in the morning to come back up here to get my kid from school at noon. So with the time change, I had to fly straight up here.
Yep.
So my alarm goes off. I'm going in the bathroom to brush my teeth or whatever, and I see Parks. And if you don't know David, he's about 6'4", 6'5", and Parks, I'm gonna say you're about 250 or so. And and like the hotel closets, like the open door jam type closets,
Hmm.
right? He's in this thing like this, right? and but I only see him through like the bathroom light. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Oh, Jesus, that's Parks. So he's just like this, and I was like, buddy, there's a bed. Go use it. He's like, this is like a tour bunk. I'm like, I know. Stretch out.
Yep.
I mean, he was like a I felt he was like a sardine in like the little walls that they have there, right?
Uh huh.
And I was like, I felt terrible for him, but I mean, we've
Life
all
on the
slept
road.
on a bus bunk, so
Hmm.
you know, just got to keep it driving smooth.
Those little coffins.
Yeah, but no, it was it was just the funniest thing. Like I just turned on the light, and like the glare from his shirt or whatever like caught my vision. Oh, Parks is here. Okay, and he's sound asleep in my closet.
Like all good friends.
Like all good friends, we've all been there.
Oh, that's awesome. Um, one thing that is a bummer is you make friends with a lot of drummers.
Hmm.
Um, in general, it's a friendly, awesome community of drummers,
Hmm.
and you don't get to really have any gigs with other drummers.
Yeah.
So like you want to go on the road and have a fun time, and unfortunately, it's there's a lot of drummers that like I hear about,
Hmm.
and David is one of them.
Yeah.
He plays sometimes with like Billy Brown, and
Hmm.
I know like Jeff Ray has a bunch of stories with David and back in their low cash days or
Hmm.
whatever, um, and it's like I want to get to know these people,
Yeah.
but
Right.
there can only be one drummer on the gig.
Yeah.
So
No. It's you. I will give you his number.
sweet.
And David, I'm just gonna give him his number. But no, you guys need to. We should all hang because it'll just be a good time. We'll all go down to 50 West.
That sounds great.
They should be a sponsor. You know.
At this point,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
know?
I got to reach out to him. And with Adam, I got the same variety pack.
Yeah.
It's just easy.
Yeah.
It's good craft beer. It's down the street from where I live, and if you can't find a beer of that variety pack that you don't like,
Right.
then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And so it's a perfect solution.
Yeah.
Unless I end up having a guest with like a really specific request.
Right.
But you were super easy, and
Yeah.
um, so yeah, we do have to get another beer though. I ran out.
Same.
Um, let me see here. So, do you have any other gigs lined up? Well, I know you have a bunch lined up, but upcoming with that one party band.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were at Jocko's last week. And then I gotta look. I mean, hold on.
Yeah, yeah, go
Look
for
real
it.
quick. Because I just like a little Google Calendar pops up. I go, that's where I'm going today.
Uh huh.
What is it? April? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I have like a week off. So the 21st, we're in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, at Elberg Drinks and More.
Mm,
Have you've been there?
I've played there
Yeah.
a couple times.
Yeah. It's a fun gig. It stinks to drive home at 3 in the morning, but
Is that one where it's like an abnormally large stage
yeah.
with like a couple different tiers? Am I thinking of the right?
There's a drum riser,
Okay.
but it's not like a multi-step
Okay.
stage. But I mean, it's a good sized stage, yeah. And then the 22nd, we're at Holman Lanes up in Hamilton. I've never played there,
Nice.
but I've heard a lot of fun stories about that place.
Mm-hmm. I think I've played there once.
Yeah. Then May and June, July. I'm looking down. It's just saying book solid, book solid, book solid. May, June, July, August, September. We're book solid. October's only 2 dates so far, which is nice. November's 2 dates so far, which is nice, and then December's book solid.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, it's. I mean, it's not lost on any of us how blessed we are, especially being in a fairly new band.
Mm-hmm.
We came out of COVID. Like we were born in COVID, so we've only been around a year and a half.
That's impressive.
Yeah, but we're all vets. Of the
Yeah.
scene.
So you have your established network already, and
Yeah.
kind of know what market you're trying to tackle, and
Right.
what bars you want to play, and restaurants, whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So
That's
we
great.
all have our own little niche, whatever we're gonna do.
Mhm.
Like our singer Ray. I think she has like her degree in social media management. So
Well, that helps.
she handles that. I'm like, here, just put these pictures on there. I have enough to deal with on my own as far as
Yes.
I don't need to manage another Instagram page.
Yep.
I don't want to be another admin for something.
Man, that's what I'm struggling with. I've been thinking, well, should I create a new page for Beats and Brews? And as of right now, everything just links to my drum page.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm torn. Part of me is like, I don't want another login. I don't want another page to manage. I don't like. I've been doing this for like 5 or 6 years, I think. And so I feel like if I should have done it a long time
Right.
ago,
Yeah.
and to like now make that decision seems a little weird. But there are times where I want the separation
Yeah.
between me, because I want the spotlight to be on my guests. And so I don't know. Do you have any feelings about that?
I'm overwhelmed because I have my own what I'm trying to do as like a drummer,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've got the Queen City stuff, and it's like, so I'm just constantly like on my phone, like checking whatever updates and doing this, and it's tiring.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's exhausting. I'm not ever not looking at a screen, which is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I've made a conscious effort, especially when like I'm with my kids. I try to just like for like 6 months, like I just even like deleted like the email app on my phone. I was like,
Yeah.
it's like I need to just that's my focus right there.
Yep.
Or I deleted Facebook even once. That was terrible. That lasted like 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great, but it lasted like 2 days because like people would like send me stuff to where like I had to open up the actual platform. You
Mhm.
know, I was like, shit. All right, I gotta put this back on there now.
Yeah.
But
It's it's a necessary evil, unfortunately.
right,
Do you want a
Be-
refill?
sure.
Uh, so we have an option between coffee, please, or doom pedal.
Okay, here we go. Whatever's clever. Thank you. No,
Is-
no. Actually, I
Thank
had
you.
actually, as I said, I had 50 West earlier today. Thank you, by the way.
My lovely wife, Mindy.
And I had Doom Pedal with my burger tonight. So
Oh, heck yeah.
that's one of my favorite ones there.
Same.
Yeah.
It's solid,
What's this?
citrusy. Mm,
What's this? Coffee, please. Yes. Coffee and stout are like my two favorite food groups. So
there you
this is
go.
perfect.
Had to wet the whistle a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here.
Yeah.
We're going to kind of do like a little random rapid fire question segment. Before we do that, if anyone else has any other questions, now's the time. And so I want to highly encourage you guys to go out and see Tim and That One Party Band.
We're fun.
They're gigging all over. They're gigging all the time. I'm sure you can find them on Facebook, Instagram,
TikTok. All the
TikTok,
things.
all the things for their show schedule.
Yeah.
Um,
The TikToks are taking off. The ticky
Are
tacky
they?
is yeah, it's crazy.
I never got into the TikToks or
No, it's
any of that.
we started it. I think we're all gonna like have like our own individual TikTok, and then just like join them all up for multi-camera views. You know,
Uh huh.
but
That's cool.
yeah, I mean, but no, it's
For some reason, I don't see you as a TikTok guy.
I've done a couple of them. I don't even have enough followers to go live. You know, so I guess you have to have like 1,000 followers to go live
Oh
or
man.
whatever. But yeah, so it's just dancing videos to whatever song. But
That reminds me of why I never signed up.
yeah, no, it's
Nobody wants to see that. Yes, Mindy. Okay. Apparently, there's a question that hasn't been answered yet. What is it?
the
What's
best thing I've ever experienced at a gig. Little kids coming up and dancing. That's always fun.
You like that?
I do. It's in certain environments, you know. It's yeah, it's fun because it's like you or you'll see or you'll see older children or adults who might have a disability of some kind, and they're stemming off of like the vibration,
Yes.
and that's really cool to see. I mean, I kind of choke up thinking about it, but it's really neat to see.
That's
You
awesome,
know,
man.
just see pure enjoyment. Um, but no, it's just to see people having fun. Because as I'm sure that you know, you just hate to see a like a bar of people,
Yep.
or see people, and they're just
And when the kids are up there dancing,
yeah,
it reminds you why you're doing it.
yeah, exactly,
Or not even just the kids, but just people
yeah,
that are up there moving around, and you know that they've probably had a rough week,
yeah,
and they're going out to blow some steam, and you're their entertainment for the night,
yeah.
and
It's
all the problems are at the door.
yeah, it's like, and there's things where, and this just happened the other night where song comes up on the list, and I'm like, shit, I don't want to play this one again, you know. And we start it, and 10 people that just made their month. They're like, yeah, like the people that you saw in the very back the whole night,
Yeah.
just like, and like they hear the intro to this song, and their whole table rushes up, and they're right there just dancing and singing every word.
Mm-hmm.
Then that song becomes fun for the next 5 minutes. But
Yep.
you know,
You know, it's like no matter how many times you play Friends in Low Places or Sweet Home Alabama,
hmm
like your eyes kind of glaze over the thought of playing those songs again. But you see how the crowd reacts,
yeah,
and you forget about that, and you get right back into the song again.
1,000,000%, yeah. You play it
And
like you wrote it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a beautiful thing.
yeah, it's fun.
Thank you for that question.
That was nice. Who was
Uh,
that? That was a great question.
yeah, I don't know. I never saw that question on my end. What's up, Grant? What's up,
Oh,
Aaron?
Ray,
Loretta?
my singer sent that one.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
that's
wish I'd
awesome.
had more smart ass comeback then.
I think my brother's watching. He had his first day of orientation today at the new job.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's a good day for the Roys.
Very nice.
Yes. Um, okay, so random rapid fire questions. What band is on your bucket list that you haven't seen live yet?
Um, I'd like to see Pink actually,
Oh, cool.
and I know she's coming, so I want to try to see it. I
Hmm.
mean, just for the entertainment value. I mean, I'm not gonna pick a bucket list band because everyone wants to have seen
Zeppelin.
the Beatles or Zeppelin or the Doors. That's just not feasible, you know.
Hmm.
But we're in a we're in a really cool industry to where we might be able to see acts in a certain environment that not everyone else gets that chance to, you
Yeah.
know. So, but as far as a bucket list band, just Pink would be fun, you know.
Um, what about your favorite local band?
My favorite local band, that one party band.
Shameless.
Billy Brown. No, there's
Yes.
here you're with this weekend. No, there's so much great talent here in town. Like not even I'm not even joking.
Hmm.
Um, I haven't seen a lot of original stuff lately, but Harold Friends are great. Chelsea Calloway, phenomenal. Um, cover bands. It's myself. We're fun. Hi-Fi Honey.
Hmm.
They're great. Um, I don't.
I just talked to Eric for the first time
Yeah,
the other day. Yeah, he was asking about some cases, and
yeah,
um, yeah, he's should be someone else that
yeah,
comes on here.
yeah. Absolutely. Um, sadly, I don't get a chance to go out and see many. I'm trying. If I have a weekend night off, I'm making a point now to go see someone I haven't seen yet, or to see a friend, or
Hmm.
because we have a lot of local musicians who have a night off. Like they'll come and see us,
Yep.
and it's great. And now it's just time to just return the favor, you
Hmm.
know. Um, but yeah,
I'm in that same boat. I want to go out more than I do, and every time I do, it's a great time, and I'm stoked that we made the time
yeah,
to go out on a Friday or a Saturday that I have off.
hmm,
'Cause usually I'm trying to talk myself out of it
yeah,
because it's like, well, I actually have a night off.
yeah,
The last place I want to go to is another bar
right,
that's loud, and I'm
yeah,
not getting paid to be there.
exactly,
But you power through it to see some buddies, and it's always a great time. And I'm always glad that
yeah.
that happens. And I need to go to the jam at the Bell and the
You
Bear
need to go to the
sometime.
jam, yeah,
That's on my list to do.
yeah. That is, it's truly like, and I hate to say the who's who is there, you know,
Hmm.
but it's you'll never know who will walk in the door, you know, from the local level to the national level.
Yeah.
You know, they'll just be in town and just show up.
So that's the place to be.
Thursday nights, Bell and the Bear.
Okay. And so for all you drummers out there who are looking to network, I don't like that word, but
Yeah,
looking to build genuine relationships
yeah,
and maybe try to find a gig or meet new people, that's probably a perfect place to go.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you go there. In my experience, you go there 2 or 3 times. You know, and it's kind of like anything. Like once a certain group of people like see you there more than 2 or 3 times, you're not just a one-off. You know,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, like he's back, she's back.
Hmm.
I'm gonna watch him. You know, um, yeah, and we've gotten some great gigs off of there. You know, just by people who were there.
That's awesome.
So like, oh hey, my band can't play, but go check out them. You know, so
Well, I'll definitely have to coordinate with you and see what night you're going, and maybe Parks is going, and
Yeah, I mean, if Parks is in town, he's generally there on Thursdays.
okay, sweet.
So
Usually I only go there when
Russ
we're
Russ Whitman is there sometimes.
okay.
Yeah, who's out with Craig Morgan.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So that's who Adam's working for, right?
correct. Yeah,
That's see, it's all connected.
exactly. It's all
It's a
connected.
beautiful thing. Um, yeah, usually when my wife and I are there, it's because we're at the comedy club,
Yeah.
and we'll go before and after. Usually,
Yeah.
it's a good time.
Yeah.
Mindy commented, said she got to see Pink open up for Justin Timberlake years ago, and that she was wonderful.
Nice.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting off. I'm getting off track here. Who's your favorite local brewery besides 50 West?
You know, I like. I had this grand visions of going to all of them in like over like a 4 weekend thing. But they're popping up so quickly
Yes.
that I can't. I mean, I love stuff from Mad Tree. I love stuff from Rheingeist. 50 West is great. 50 West is probably the ones I drink the most of. You know,
Have you been to Nine Giant yet?
Nine Giant. Yeah,
It's one of my favorites.
I live right around the corner from there.
Oh,
So
lucky.
I remember when they were they weren't even open yet. Like their building was literally a concrete shell. Like they had just done demo for whatever was in there prior.
Mm-hmm.
And on like the Pleasant Ridge Facebook page, they were doing like a pop up. It was some holiday weekend, and hey, we have 3 kegs of like the little Coca-Cola style kegs,
Uh huh.
of whatever. And I went up there and drank. I don't even know what I drank at the time, but I enjoyed it. And then after they opened, they were awesome. But one that didn't survive, sadly, and they had some great beer, was Rebel Metal.
Yes.
They opened up. I think they opened up during COVID, so it just didn't catch.
It was an uphill battle.
Yeah, and I mean, and I happen to know one of the owners. So I'm actually
Isn't he a
a
drummer
couple of them.
or one of them?
One of the owners, he's a musician. I'm not sure if Josh is a drummer or not, but yeah. But one of the other owners, Greg, our kids go to school together,
Cool.
and I'm not plugging them because of that, but they had some great stuff
Mm-hmm.
to where like I would order them for like our neighborhood functions. Like
Man,
I'd order a keg and Greg would literally deliver it to my house.
I
You
want to
know,
be your neighbor.
it was.
You sound very neighborly.
We used to get kegs, and I bought a tap, and it was fun. It was, you know,
That's great.
back when I was living in Anderson, But yeah, it was fun. But no, there's I High Grain. I've had some of their stuff. I don't recall what I've had of it, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, again, it's just there's so many now, and
Yep.
not in a bad way. I mean, it's not oversaturated.
Mm-hmm.
It's just expanding so quickly that I just haven't gotten to them.
Yeah. Have you been to Deadlow yet?
I love Deadlow. Yeah. See, I mean, I can't even think of what.
Yeah,
They've got great food too.
they do. They have been one of the newer breweries
Yeah.
that I've really enjoyed.
Yeah. Again, I just can't even think of who I like anymore.
I feel that. I was I did like a live stream on Instagram with my buddy Steven the other day, and he basically asked me like who all I'm playing with this year.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even think of
Right.
several people that I mean I'm mostly playing with just a couple people,
Yeah.
but there are like a couple one-offs that I forgot to mention. I'm like, oh man, I'm really looking forward to a couple shows with
Yeah.
Michelle Robinson.
Yeah.
Filling in for Jeremy for a couple shows, and
Mhm.
I just like completely spaced out, and you
Yeah.
just can't think of certain things.
Yeah. I mean,
on the
again,
fly
going back
sometimes.
to that and like some of like your favorite local groups, 500 miles to Memphis.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't forget about them, Kev. I love you, but it's just like just spaced you for a second, you know. I mean,
He plays some of your drums, right?
hmm yeah, yeah,
They're one of my favorites. And they
yeah,
have been for a long time.
yeah. Um, Black Owls, who they do very few shows anymore. I think like one or two a year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just crazy. It's just there's just so much talent in this town, man. You know.
Yep. Um, and everyone that I talked to about Cincinnati that knows Cincinnati, they all agree that it's kind of like a hidden gem.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know about Cincy too much, but I love it.
Yeah.
Great people.
I mean,
The traffic isn't bad.
there's a reason I named my company after it. You know.
Yeah,
So
it's the Queen City, baby.
yeah,
Um,
but it's funny because there's quite a few other queen cities in the country. So I've gotten builds from Maine because I am wherever like the big city is in Maine, Hanger, Maine. That's like the Queen City.
okay,
Buffalo, New York is the Queen City.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, I think like Charlotte, North Carolina is the Queen City, you know, or something. So it's like I get these calls like I want a Queen City.
Hmm.
All right, cool, you know.
I'll ship you a couple badges.
Exactly, exactly.
Oh, that's great. And
Speaking of badges, phenomenal drum store by the way.
I'm still trying to make my way out there.
Field trip.
I-
Charlie's a great guy.
Every time I have a gig out there,
Hmm
I'm beating myself up because I'm getting in like the proper time that I should be to load in for a gig, and I unfortunately continue to forget to go extra early so
Yeah.
I could check it out. And by the time I remember, there's no wiggle room.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I've heard nothing but awesome things about badges, and
Yeah.
I think it's so awesome that Cincinnati has
Yeah. Like
a
some of
drum
his
store
like
like that.
vintage stuff. I don't even know where he gets it. I mean, it has to be local because they're all consignments or
Hmm.
just trades or whatever. Excuse me. But I'm like, who knew there were that many 1970s Ludwig 402s in town?
Hmm.
You know, that were all in pretty decent shape.
Yeah,
Or that Fibes kit from 1971 that someone just had in their basement, you know, that still looks brand new. It's,
and so he's getting these gems.
yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I work in production at Memorial Hall.
Hmm
Any chance that I get to mention to the drummer that they need to check out badges, like I'm always promoting,
Yeah.
even though I haven't personally been out yet.
Yeah.
I know it's amazing,
Yeah.
and I'm still waving the flag.
I did.
It's a great thing for us.
I was doing an event for, it was like the Ludlow Garage, like 50th anniversary, I think it was.
Hmm.
Jerry Burke, forgive me if I'm wrong on the year, but
Good old Jerry.
Jerry, I love that guy. And Rick Derringer was the headliner. And so I was, his drummer is David Northrup, who I think is out with, well, I know he's out with Joe Nichols now, but I just met David through that, and he's like, I've got 6 or 7 hours before I got to be on. Is there a drum shop around? I go, Badges. This is about 45 minutes north. He's like, what's the address? You
Yes.
know, I was like, we have Guitar Center here in town, but go to Badges. He's like, what's the address?
Yep.
And then turns out this was like the summer of like 19 or something. And then about a year later, like COVID was in full swing, but people were like allowed to like look outside at this point, you know? And
Yeah.
David, the drummer, like he was doing a clinic up there. And so I just went on up and full on face mask and whatnot, but it was cool. It
Hand
was awesome.
sanitizer in each pocket.
Yeah, you know, it was. I mean, and I'm not downplaying that at all,
Uh-huh.
but it was a very different time.
It really was. Yeah. I was in Nashville on Monday,
Hmm
and it hit me that I've been to Nelson a couple times,
I've never been there.
and I'm like, but I haven't been to Badges yet.
Yeah.
I need to support my local guy, and
Yeah.
I've kind of failed doing that, at least physically.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's gonna change soon.
Yeah.
But Badges was awesome, or Nelson was
Nelson.
awesome.
I haven't been there, and I want to go. So that's
Um,
on the list the next time I'm done in Nashville.
I'm assuming you've been to Forks.
Yeah. Both locations.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, if you could build a snare for one drummer, who would it be?
Who asked that?
That was me.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. I saw you like look down at your phone. If I could build a snare for one drummer, it would be Aaron Roy.
All right. I like that.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I've built my dream snare for a person. Second, outside of just Krupa and Bonzo, I'd love to build one for Steven Adler
okay.
of Guns N' Roses, because him and Tommy were like my two guys. Ricky Rocket, phenomenal guy, wonderful. We're not friends; we're acquaintances at best, you
Uh-huh.
know. But some of my friends are friends with him, and he can, like, he has his own drum company. He can have his own build, you know. But no, Ricky, I love you, buddy. But like, in fact, he started. He was one of the inspirations for Queen City.
Really?
Yeah. And we have discussed this at length. Phenomenal, phenomenal guy. But now it's, and again, like the Tommy thing, it was a vanity thing to say I did it. You know,
Yeah.
I knew it would never see a stage. It might be in a road box right now. I don't know. You know, or at some point in the future, who knows? But
Mhm.
no, it's, I just want to build drums for the people who want them. You know, so
It's a good answer.
yeah.
I like that. Well, with that being said, um, David chimes in again.
Sparks.
Favorite drum grooves and fills.
The Rosanna Shuffle.
Oh yeah, Burkus Brewing.
Burgess is a fun room. Have you ever
I've never
played there?
I've never played there, but I've been there a couple times.
It was, we played there about a month ago, and thank God I'm on a click for some songs in my ear,
Uh huh.
and because I'm playing and I've got this, I smell kerosene, and I see like this flash out of like my peripheral, and there's just people like spinning fire, and I'm just like, thank God I'm on a click, because I'm just on autopilot, just looking at this,
Yep.
you know, because I would have just lost it, you know.
That sounds really badass.
It was really fun.
I think things we killed the internet a little bit. Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We've been at this for about an hour and 40 minutes, and I really appreciate.
You gave the drummer a microphone, and I'll just talk, man. I'm sorry.
We're not used to it,
I know.
but
Someone wants to talk to me? Really?
I really do appreciate how generous you've been with your time,
Oh, thank you.
and this
Thanks
is
for having me.
uh, you're a perfect guest.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
and every time we've hung out, it's been a pleasure.
Same.
Just you're just a genuine, down to earth dude,
Thank you.
and
Try.
yeah, it's just always I feel like we've been friends for years.
Yeah.
So it feels natural. You're a great dude,
Thank you.
and yeah, it's been a pleasure
Thank
hanging
you.
out with
Same
you
here.
today.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap it up with that one last question from David. Favorite drum grooves or fills, and fills.
Groove. Um, it's a toss up between the Rosanna intro and Levy Breaks intro. Just that,
Ooh.
da-da-da, da-da, just. As far as fills, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Actually, parks. I'm going to talk to you about this anyway, but Barracuda, and you might be able to help me with this. At the end, it said the dun 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 dun. Like the end, like the outro. There's like these like hi-hat opens and closes that I still haven't been able to get because it's there's in such like off time, or whatever. So Parks, call me, but because he will break it down like you're a 4-year-old in the most positive way, and just
Wow.
this is how you do this. Like I'll call him up, and like he'll like chart a session for me over the phone. It's great. But Phil's, I don't know,
That's
man.
amazing.
I don't know about Phil's. In the air tonight, drum break. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm sure there's probably a million, and
Yeah.
I just never really tried to categorize it in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's tons of Zeppelin
Yeah.
grooves.
And I'm not even a huge Zeppelin fan per se.
Like Fool in the Rain.
Yeah,
like
I mean that's great. I love it. It's great stuff. But I was more of a Jason Bonham fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got into John later,
Mm-hmm.
but I think because everyone's like, "Oh, you got to know John Bonham." I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm 12 or 13. I don't have to know. I don't need to do anything you tell me to do, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
But his son's coming up playing this thing on MTV. I'll watch that. So I got into Jason before I got into John.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. But I'm kind of proud of that in a way.
Yeah.
In a weird sort of way.
It's a weird flex.
Yeah,
I
it is
like
a weird
that.
totally weird flex.
Well, Tim, thanks again, man, and thank you everyone for your questions and hanging out. And I'm going to continue to try to do these as much as possible.
Yeah.
Busy season is here. It's upon us.
Yes.
And I'm already talking to a couple other people to try to line some other dates up. But it's just really awesome that we're able to.
Yeah.
Our schedules aligned and could make this happen.
Yeah.
And so thanks again.
Thank you.
If you want to start another drum groove, we'll jam for a couple more minutes, and
I'll let you start this one. How's that?
okay,
Okay.
I can try that.
Yeah.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Do
What was that?
levy breaks or whatever. I don't know.
sorry, I have unfair advantage.
You've got all the toys over there, man.
Well, I purposely